Testing. Hey Mark, it's Mikey. I'm going to take you through some of my startup and setup stuff. Uh, so I've already started mixed reality. You can see it started down here. That's the only thing I started. So I'm in my headset and that's how I'm talking to you. And I'm recording the desktop right now. I've set this to record the desktop. So just going through a couple of settings and changes in startup and stuff like that we talked about. Uh, I've updated this file. This is on Google Docs. It's the same file you're used to. Nothing has changed on this first page, and you don't have to worry about it. But I've added Nvidia Settings page, and this goes through all our Nvidia graphics card settings and what I set them to. So image sharpening, ambient occlusion, how it's set, and what I think it does to the frame rate. Most of this stuff in here is a very small effect. Most of the settings instead you set inside the game, IL2, and it has a much bigger effect. But there's a good description. On this next tab, these are all the things that affect the game in IL2, the IL2 settings. And this one at the top is outside the game, but it's actually the biggest one. So my default settings are along the side here. So this is the test best baseline and all the settings from top to bottom that I set. And this is running my headset at 52%. It's the reverb. And I get 60 frames per second. That's the frames per second all across the top. When something's in bold here, it's another test run, and that's the only thing that was changed. So going from balanced to low goes from 60 to 71 frames per second. Huge effect, but low is a much lower quality. Going to high, you lose 5 frames per second from 60, okay? And then going to ultra, you lose 7 frames per second from 60. Everything is from this 60 baseline. So just what bold is what's changed. Just changing, so we're still on balance, but going from 40 kilometers to 150 kilometers range actually lost frames in this test, so it's not a good sample. Basically, it has no effect. So you can increase the range to 150, and I notice no effect difference. Switching from FAXX anti-aliasing to MSAA was a huge drop in performance. So 6 frames per second loss, that's 10%. So definitely want to use just FXAA anti-aliasing, and 2 is fine. Here's shedding the quality from high to extreme was a very small change. But later I tested other things. Anyway, each one of these going across is a test run. Bold is the change that was made. Going here is a summary of those changes. So IL2 settings tab is just a summarized from top to bottom. Turning off projection and turning on DirectX 11 made the hugest change. From 60 to 74 frames per second, 23% change. It's a no-brainer. We want that. It actually has less artifacts. Sometimes that gets turned on. Every once in a while we need to check. And I'll show you how to check this in a sec. And then on the quality settings pages, the main setting of quality, we usually set it to balanced, and probably I'll keep it there. And that baseline's at 60. These are the changes for just that. Everything in bold, these are the ones that affect things the most. So I didn't even test some of these. There's no numbers where it wasn't tested. Shadow quality, going from high to medium is a big change of 64. But going from high to ultra, not a big change. Only 1 frame drop from high to ultra. Turning mirrors off. If you turn them off completely, you get a big performance hit. And since I'm not using any mirrors anymore, I mean, if you're not using a mirror, you don't get the hit. But if you do use mirrors, it's a pretty big change. You get the idea. You can go through here and you can figure out what you want to change and how it affects performance. Clouds from high to medium, big change. But from high to extreme, very small change. And here's the anti-aliasing changes. That's about it for that document. So I've already started mixed reality, and now I'm going to start SteamVR in the headset. So I'm going to switch this to recording what the headset sees. Okay. And so it's going to go black for a moment. And, oh, actually, I'll get the startup of it. Starting my Windows mixed reality for SteamVR. And I hope you're seeing the headset. I think you are, but I'll check in a second when I switch to my desktop. Right. Yeah, you're getting it. Okay, good. Actually, I want to start that over. I'm going to start this over and pause for a second. Pause. Hey, Mark. Back again. Restarted this. You should be seeing my desktop and it should be recording voice. Good, it is. So I just restarted this. And what I like to do when I start Windows Mixed Realities, it comes up. Every single time now, I go ahead and I look straight ahead and I reset this. So I center the view straight ahead. I kind of point my this hand controller, and there I reset that. That's the first thing I do. Then, when I launch SteamVR, and it should show SteamVR when I do this, you should see what I'm seeing in the headset. SteamVR comes up. Now I use the hand controller to do a couple things. So it just came up. The first thing I do is I also reset the view here, looking straight ahead. And maybe do that once or twice. Good. And then when I show the desktop, I can click the desktop button on my controller, go back and forth, and see that it's pointing straight ahead, and it recenters the desktop. So I'm good there. And then this smiley face down here, so this is the desktop. This will kill SteamVR. You can exit it with it. This is the desktop. This is the mixed reality settings that we talked about yesterday. And I think you did found it because you were showing me what you did. So going to graphics, I turned off all these. You want it disabled and you want forced DirectX 11 on. That's the biggest change that you get in frames per second. And you actually get less artifacts. Okay, so going back to the desktop, in my SteamVR VR settings here, you can see I've got my resolution set to 52%, and it'll be different for each headset. So with that, all that set up and everything good, I'm ready to launch IL2. I just launch IL2, and then with a hand controller, I switch it to the VR view and wait for it to come up. I think it takes mine a little longer to load than yours. Okay, going to settings, your game, map sooner distance, set it to unlimited. I don't notice a difference in frames per second there. And then in graphics, this is the one. So I'm testing high with shadows and clouds on medium just to test the frame rate I get. The horizon draw distance is 150. Normally, my baseline would be to have this at balanced and both of these set to high. But clouds aren't looking that good. I'm not happy with the clouds, so I tried extreme, it didn't help. So I'm going down to medium because I want to see how much worse that is in the test. And then I'm going up to high on this, and that's the trade-off. If I go high here, we can see trees out further, things don't blend in as fast, and it looks better. The world looks better. But shadows get a little bit worse, and clouds get a little bit worse. And we leave this 150. So that's all my settings. And I'm going to test this. And it's not going to need to reboot because I've already set it to this. So I'll accept that and exit. And to test the settings when I'm messing with these, I go to my missions and I always launch this Airport 2, Practice 2. So Airport Practice 2. And we should update this. I'll give you an update next time we get together. It should work for you if you want to play with it, but I'll give you an update because they did an update. And every time they do an update, you want to update the missions. So next time I'll give you an update. So the only thing I do now is I turn off my mirrors and change the color to our color. And it should be good. We're going to be attacking over here, an airbase. I think, or might be here. It's actually right here. We're attacking this airbase. We're flying in here, attacking this airbase. That's it, right there. Alrighty, so I'm going to put the hand controller down and switch into my thing on pause it. On pause it, set the lights to on, start recording. So, yeah, clouds don't look much worse. They just never really kind of dance around anyway. That's it on menu. And I think the shadow from the cockpit's still acceptable. We're getting 63 with better distance fading off, and so trees and stuff shouldn't fade on as much. See that as we approach the ground here, where it's all fading on before some trees. 647. Not that much worse than the speed. See out there in the distance there, trees fading on, it's pretty far. One possible option for the setup. All right. Hope that was helpful. And I'm going to kill the recording.